Okay, we're now recording. 5, 4, 3. Let's see if I can just adjust myself a little bit.
Do you want him looking at you or in the camera?
No, at me, because we're going to have a conversation.
All right.
Okay? So I'm going to look at the camera for a second. So 5, 4, 3. Hi, this is Dan Smigrod. I'm the founder of the Matterport User Group Forum. And joining me is David Falstrup, the CEO of Evox Images, as well as Dave Weber, the Vice Chairman, heads up marketing for Evox Images. So, David, you have this amazing library of 360-degree spherical images inside cars. Thus, we're actually inside a car having this conversation. Tell me about your library.
Well, I guess you'd have to go back 21 years to my garage, and we started thinking VR was coming, and 21 years may be too early. And at some point, we were doing every imaginable kind of 360 real estate product, you name it, and we just happened to focus down in our market niche, which was cars, fairly quickly, rather than trying to do everything. And we had a launch client in those days. It was Microsoft that wanted to do a library and a portal to show every car, and so that was the birth of our library. So we, from that point on, shot every vehicle to the body style level and have about 8,000 cars in 360s in the library, as well as stills and so forth. So we're very much car focused since then, but have a lot of sort of history and passion for the early days of VR, and it's very interesting to see a lot of the things come back after 20 years and kind of repeat themselves, and it's fun.
And so today you have 8,000 360-degree spherical images inside cars. Going back 20 years, you're shooting about how many images, spheres a year?
For the first part of those, for the first initial years, we were doing basically project-based work. We would work for our company doing stuff for the OEMs, and then of course a mixture of projects. But the focus for us since model year 2000 has been cars and a library of cars.
And most recently, in the last couple of years, shooting actually stereoscopic. Last couple of years, stereoscopic 360s with inside of cars.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, we were 20 years too soon, but clearly VR is about to explode, and so a couple of years ago, we saw the signs of this. We're very close to some of the developers of Oculus and so on. So we realized we need to get ready. So we started shooting everything in high resolution, stereoscopic 360. So every car that goes through the library, and we shot about 1,000 360 stereoscopic interiors and exteriors.
Which is awesome. And in fact, after we get done, we're going to go take a look at perhaps one of those stereoscopic images of a car. So I'm excited about that. You mentioned VR. We're heading in the direction of VR. Can you talk a little bit about where Evox Images is heading in terms of virtual reality meets automotive?
Well, you know, we're part of a move to really transform the way people shop for cars. You know, a move away from a pure traditional dealer lot towards more of an e-commerce model, or transforming the way dealers sell cars with less inventory and so on. There's really we're on the cusp of a technology-enabled transformation, which is also reflective of a change in the buyer patterns. You know, not just millennials, but everybody's looking for a different way to buy cars, and so the timing is very good to introduce these sort of transformation of the retail experience, which is going to go beyond cars. You know, every industry from real estate to, I think, is going to be impacted by the head-mounted display technologies becoming rapidly available to the consumer.
Yeah, in fact, I think not within the last 30 days, an announcement by a major automotive manufacturer having dealerships that are only virtual reality. So it's exciting to hear the kinds of what's coming. Yeah. So in terms of this library, Dave, this is you license this library. Anyone
Yeah, we license the library. Our biggest clients are major dealer solution providers, the people that are building the dealership websites. So if anybody's shopping for a car in North America, they're seeing Evox Images. We're on over 21,000 dealership websites. We're on the top major shopping portals. We're also 525 newspapers. So we're definitely the leaders in terms of automotive imagery in both 2D and 3D.
Oh, 2D too, yeah. So a huge library there. So if we could, in fact, just go back for a moment, because I could imagine a lot of the Matterport photographers across the globe are actually wondering about, maybe could I put my Matterport camera in the car and see if I could take a spin. Obviously we looked at your 360 spherical photography. There's a lot of magic in what you do. The images are pristine, they're perfect, there's no stitching errors, they're absolutely phenomenal. But just without giving away any secret sauce, is maybe talk about some of the challenges that either a Matterport photographer, and I know a lot of our members, our Matterport User Group Forum members, are also Google Street View photographers, so they got their 8mm fisheye lens or some other solution. So what are some of the challenges about shooting in a car that they'd likely face, perhaps with Matterport or just in general?
Yeah, I mean, we really would have loved to be able to use Matterport, and we've tried it inside cars. Of course, with it very close proximity like that, you've got to make a lot of compromise. And when you're talking about product marketing, you've got to represent the car well. It's really got to be perfect. If anything, we're kind of upping the game in how everything is lit to OEM standards, and the shape of it and so on. You can't really be off. So we have personally found that Matterport wasn't the way to go right now for cars. So we're using our own proprietary photography techniques, which is a combination of photography and CGI.
So really, I think the point of this is, if you're a Matterport photographer and you're talking to a dealer, is really what you want to be doing is introducing them to Evox Images, or even potentially licensing your library to be a value-added reseller wherever that is in the planet. Is that fair to say?
Well, for the car itself, I think there's a lot of opportunities for Matterport photographers within the automotive industry. It's a very big sector. I mean, the dealership itself lends itself well to Matterport, and so on. So I think you have to look at the automotive industry more broadly than the actual product itself. We're more focused on representing the product, and we kind of got that covered. We really focus on that and have great interior and exterior content, but everything surrounding that experience, there are lots of cases where you want to represent that in a different environment or link it to other experiences that really Matterport is best suited to, and we don't do. We're focused purely on the product.
Well, actually, which is a fascinating thing that you bring up about Matterport photographers being able to scan, let's say, a dealership. And today, Matterport has Matter tags, which lets us tag points within the space with text only. But Matterport has already announced plans to roll out Matter tags that enable tags that have digital images, video, clickable links. So I guess as we're talking, I could imagine that you could have a dealership where you're doing a virtual walk around the dealership, and you can now actually perhaps segue to the Evox Images of the beautiful pristine shots inside and outside the automobile, which may be even further tagged, and you also shoot video. So now you can be playing video, and when I'm talking about Matterport Spaces 3D tours, we're generally talking about, let's say, on an iPad, laptop, desktop. But actually Matterport has announced plans to take Matter tags into the virtual reality as well. So that opens up some interesting possibilities, Dave, licensing, in terms of being able to walk through a dealership and have those Matter tags perhaps point to the digital assets that ImageVox is creating of pristine inside the car, outside the car videos, and even perhaps some. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the cars that don't exist yet, because you're doing a little bit of forward. You help me out with the words of how help a manufacturer with rolling out imagery for cars that perhaps don't exist yet. Is that the right way to say that? Or just announce? The cars are just as they're announced.
Well, we'll work direct with an OEM and capture vehicles, under cover, pre-release. But we're a library of content that we license to other people that have solutions. Really, we're providing the library, so we have a cross-brand content that's independent of the OEMs. So when cars haven't been released yet, we have techniques where we can go out and use imagery and convert that into CG models, then create secondary imagery out of that, and then license that back to people out of the library. So our first look library, for example, is CG. It's not photography.
Yeah.
It's CG models that we create by looking at reference photography.
So that's actually crazy exciting, because that almost means you could have a better virtual experience going to a virtual walkthrough. Let's say a Matterport photographer creating a 3D tour of an actual dealership. But as soon as those CG images are available to have actually perhaps, and keep in mind we may be talking somewhat in the future here, but I think it's exciting to hear about perhaps what's possible. So,
It's not a virtual phone.
This is a virtual phone. So anyway, we've been visiting with Evox Images with David, the CEO, and Dave, the vice chairman. And I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the Matterport User Group Forum. Thanks for joining us. We're here in Atlanta at Atlanta Tech Village in the parking lot of all places. Seemed appropriate to chat with you. So
thanks for having me.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.